First up, we're talking about physical presence, body language, and poise. Here's a quote from speakswithpersuasion.com. Body language is part of nonverbal communication. It is the combination of movements, gestures, and postures. This includes the way a speaker talks, moves, and looks on stage. Body language is part of the message a speaker wants to give. How we hold our bodies tells so much about us as performers. With a simple gesture, you can invite or exclude. You can show confidence or fear. You can be present or aloof. And whether they realize it consciously or not, the audience is responding to the conversation your body is having. So, as an introduction to physical presence, we're going to talk about three main topics. Relaxation, the state of being free from tension and anxiety. Posture, the position in which somebody holds their body when standing or sitting. And gesture, a movement of part of the body, especially a hand or the head, to express an idea or meaning. It may seem counterintuitive to try to relax while participating in an activity such as public speaking, where we know it can cause tension and anxiety. But it is essential that we have as much control over our bodies as possible so that, similar to elite athletes, we can access what we need when we need it, all the while making it seem effortless. Be aware of where you hold your tension. Is it in your neck, shoulders, or lower back? Regardless of where you find your tension, not taking steps to relax it can end with you holding your body in a way that conveys a message you're not trying to send, by making you look stiff or robotic. So what can we do? Tip number 1, stretch before you practice and perform. There is no shortage of neck, shoulder, and back stretches on the internet. In fact, if it's a muscle, there's a way to stretch it. Find some that work best for you and don't forget to breathe while you're stretching. Which brings us to tip number 2. Don't forget to breathe. In the section on voice and articulation, we're going to talk a little more about how breathing can support projection and cadence. But here, we're talking about how breathing can calm you. One of the ways I and a lot of my performer friends prepare for a presentation is through meditation and breathing exercises. Again, we don't have a lot of time to discuss meditation and breathing in this video, but luckily, the internet has got us again. One exercise I can quickly share is called box breathing. Basically, you breathe in for a count of 3, hold your breath for a count of 3, then exhale for a count of 3, hold again for 3 seconds, and repeat, focusing on the counting and the breath. Whenever your mind wanders, you just bring it back to the breath. If you find that you have a problem with stage fright, which causes you to move around too much or make your hand shake, don't worry. It's just nervous energy. We all have it. Stretching helps us to burn some of that energy, and breathing teaches us to redistribute that energy to places where we need it most. Tip 3, stand up straight and still. It may not be immediately obvious as to why posture is important, even though instinctually most of us know that it is. How we stand sends a direct message to the audience, whether you want it to or not. Slouching says one thing and standing up straight says something else. But here's a little inside information. It does the same thing for your brain, especially if you spend the majority of your day hunched over. Standing up straight sends a signal that we are about to do something different and important. Also, if you are not standing up straight, you can't breathe fully, which means you can't support your projection, and breathing affects your blood flow, which means you won't be able to power your gestures and facial expressions. It's all connected. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand. Thus, but use all gently. For in the very torrent, tempest, and as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, you must acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 1. Tip number 4. If it doesn't add, it subtracts. We are talking about gestures. And as I see it, there are two main types of gestures. Literal gestures, which is when you use a gesture to show exactly what it is you're saying. For example, I took a drink of water. I was driving my car. These gestures should be used very sparingly. And then there's figurative gestures, which, like figurative language, we use to insinuate a feeling, thought, or emotion. For example, I'm mad as hell, or be cool, man. Tell me more. When deciding what gesture you want to add to your performance, ask yourself, does this gesture add to the audience's understanding of the poem? If the answer is no, then it is distracting from the meaning and thusly subtracting from the audience's ability to understand and enjoy your presentation. This doesn't mean you should do the opposite either and not move at all. Stillness is unnatural in human discourse. It usually indicates that something has gone wrong. Let the natural rhythm of the poem influence the flow of your gestures. My suggestion is that you look at the gestures of speakers that inspire you. Emulation is the first step to making something your own. Speaking of speakers that inspire,
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hi, I'm Regie Cabico. I'm a poet and a teaching artist. Welcome to Poetry Out Loud. Greetings from Union Market, DC. We're going to look at Poetry Out Loud. We're going to look at some of the criteria, particularly for this, looking at physicality, physical presence. The poem that I want to work with is one of the shortest poems in the Poetry Out Loud database. It's Ebb by Edna St. Vincent Millay. I know what my heart is like since your love died. It is like a hollow ledge holding a little pool left there by the tide. A little tepid pool drying inward from the edge. So I want to look at how we might explore some physicality with gesture in that poem. When you look at your poem, you want to look at all of the concrete nouns in the poem. In Millay's poem, we have ledge, pool, heart. So those are concrete images that we could physicalize when we perform the poem. So for myself, I know what my heart is like since your love died. It is like a hollow ledge holding a little pool left there by the tide. A little tepid pool drying inward from the edge. So I didn't choreograph that poem, but I let my hands run with the rhythm of the words. And I also tried to physicalize or suggest some of those words like ledge, like pull, holding. Really feel free to explore these hand gestures because in a Poetry Out Loud competition, you can't really walk around or move through a crowd. You're really fixed in front of a microphone. So you do have the ability to use your hands. You also have the ability to use your eye contact when you are delivering your poem. And as far as eye contact, you want to connect to the audience. So in your poem, you really want to ask yourself, do I want to speak to one person And do I want to have my focus imagining who I might be speaking to the poem? Or is this a poem that you want to tell the world?
Let's take a moment and check out the work of Poetry Out Loud vet Mariana Flores. She will be reciting The Paradox by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Pay attention to the way she stands and how comfortable she seems on stage. She delivers her words slowly and her gestures move at the same rhythm as her poem. Also, look at how gestures merely guide the story along. They don't try to tell the audience the poem through her actions. Enjoy.
I am the mother of sorrows. I am the ender of grief. I am the bud and the blossom. I am the late falling leaf. I am thy priest and thy poet. I am thy serf and thy king. I cure the tears of the heart sick. When I come near, they shall sing. White are my hands as the snowdrop. Swart are my fingers as clay. Dark is my frown as the midnight. Fair is my brow as the day. Battle and war are my minions, doing my will as divine. I am the calmer of passions. Peace is a nursling of mine. Speak to me gently or curse me. Seek me or fly from my sight. I am thy fool in the morning. Thou art my slave in the night. Down to the grave will I take thee, out from the noise of the strife. Then shalt thou see me and know me, death then no longer, but life. Then shalt thou sing at my coming, kiss me with passionate breath, clasp me and smile to have thought me, aught save the foeman of death. Come to me, brother, when weary. Come when thy lonely heart swells. I'll guide thy footsteps and lead thee down where the dream woman dwells.